All right. I understand that you want to develop JabRef on your local machine, and you probably need some help to set up your local workspace. Let's find out if I can give you a hand here, and we will go step by step through the whole process. So in order to develop JabRef, you of course need an IDE and you need the source code, and I will show you all the steps for Linux using IntelliJ IDEA. And let's jump right in. Okay, so the very first step is that you need Java 13, and that's probably the first thing you want to ensure, that you have a JDK, a Java Development Kit version 13. So if you have no clue what to do, then just search for Java Oracle and download, and go to the Oracle site and download the GDK. So you see here we have version 13.0.2, and simply click on download, and I usually go with the compressed archive, which is in that case for Windows, but I'm using it for Linux. And just download this one, and I already did this here, and I put it in this into the folder, and then I simply extract it to the place where all my Java JDKs live. So here we have a tar gz, so that we can extract this by using, of course, tar extract. It's zipped and the file, and then just give the file name. And usually I put this under user local Java, and since I need root access for this, I do a sudo, and it's doing its thing and unpacking it. And when we look into the directory, we see here we have now a JDK 13.0.2, so that's fine. One of the next steps is, of course, to ensure that you have Git. So I have Git version 2.7, something like that. You can simply install it through your for instance, for apt-get if you're also on an Ubuntu system. And the final step that's necessary is that you download an integrated development environment. As I said, I'm using IntelliJ IDEA here, so you can simply download this for free. Just search for JetBrains IDEA and download, and you will very likely find your way to the download page here. You can download the community edition right away. It's free, it's open source, you can just install it. You probably want to check if you're allowed to use the Ultimate Edition, because if you did some work on open source, or you're working on in academia or as a teacher, you usually get an Ultimate license for free. In order to check this, I believe you click here on Buy, and then you click here on Special Offers, and then you see a long list of special offers that probably give you an Ultimate license for free. You just apply, and then you get your license. One more thing, if you're using not only IntelliJ IDEA for Java development, but for instance, you're also doing some Python or some web development, you probably don't want to just download IDEA. You should probably check out the toolbox. It's very nice. It looks like this. I can show you that. And here you can basically manage all your IDEA, your JetBrains products, like for instance C-Line for C or Android Studio, and I have the two versions of IntelliJ IDEA and PyCharm and some WebStorm, but there are others. It's keeping your products up to date, and it allows you to open projects quickly, and so on and so forth. All right, so we have these three things that we need. let's jump right in. So first, you need the JabRef code. You find the JabRef code on the JabRef GitHub repository. So what you very likely want to do is you want to fork the project to work on your own fork. I will skip this step, but basically it's just pressing the fork button and you get the whole repository in your own account, and you can use the repository there. Just for simplicity, I'm using the one here. So I click on clone or download, and I'm just copying the URL here, and then you just say git clone. As instructed in the documentation page, we restricted depth to 10, which doesn't download the whole history of the whole repository, but only the last, 10 commits. I'm not even sure, but I guess the last 10 commits. And so you get the up-to-date source code, but you're not getting the whole history of everything, which is usually fine. If you have time, just skip the dev option and take some minutes to download everything. Okay, now we have a folder JabRef here, and let's go into the folder, and we see we're on the master. If you don't get this view, I have a special bash extension that shows me, but we see we're in the master branch, and everything looks clean. So one of the first things I would always try is to just compile it on the command line to see if everything works. And let's just give it a stupid try, and we're using Gradle for JabRef, which is a build tool for Java, and you can start several tasks. For instance, we could say, okay, just assemble everything, which means compile and prepare all things. And so we're inside the JabRef folder, and we just call Gradle w assemble, and then it's starting. So, and then you might find that you run into an error, and the important thing here is unsupported class version error, which means that your Java is too old. And if we check my Java version, you see that the default one is indeed 1.8, but we're supposed to use Java 13. So as shown earlier, all my JDKs are under user local Java, and I would just define the Java home variable here, so that Gradle uses the right one. So user local Java, and then we have something like JDK 13.0.2. Okay, let's give this another try. Now it seems to do something. So what Gradle does right now is generating all necessary source code, downloading all dependencies, and in the end compiling JabRef for you. If this succeeds, then we're halfway there. If not, if you run into trouble, then you have to check the error message and see what went wrong. So let's just wait for a second so that this can finish its job. All right, build successful, looks promising. So what we can do now is we can start the freshly built JabRef from the command line directly. Again, we use Gradle and just say run. So the first step is successful. we know we can compile it. And now let's go to part number 2, where we set up IntelliJ IDEA so that you can actually work on the code and compile it from within IDEA. So we quit this. I'm using IntelliJ 2019, the latest version here, I guess. Before you start, you might want to check if you have all the necessary plugins, because you need the Gradle plugins for IDEA, and you probably have it, but just to be sure, check it. Go to Configure, Plugins. Then the window pops open. You see Installed or Marketplace, so I'm on in the Installed tab, and just search for Gradle. So, and you see that I have turned on both of the Gradle extensions that are available. Later we will need another plugin, so let's install this right away. It's a check style plugin, and you find it when you go to Marketplace and then search for check style. Just install it. It's downloading it and installing it. Everything is automatic, and in the end, it will just ask to restart IntelliJ IDEA. Okay, and then we can open JabRef inside IDEA. So we just go to Open, and I put this in my home directory under JabRef tutorial, then JabRef, and I'm just opening the Gradle file. In recent versions of IDEA, you can also simply take the directory, but for brevity, let me take the build Gradle, pressing OK. Yeah, we want to open it as a project. IDEA does some things in the background. You see it below there, that it's working. You will get a pop-up that says, okay, it's a Gradle project, and do you want to import it as a Gradle project? And of course we want this, so we press this. And now we need to set up some things so that IntelliJ is using the right Java version and that you can basically compile JabRef. So let's first ensure that we have the right Java version everywhere where we need it. So there's a toolbar up here. If you don't see this one, you can go to View Appearance and press the toolbar and turn it on. Basically, you have here the global settings and here the project structure. You also find it on the file, then project structure or settings. So first I go into project structure because we want to set up the JDK 13 so that IntelliJ knows we have a Java 13 development kit. So we go in the platform settings and simply press plus here and select JDK. And then you go basically to wherever you put your Java. So for me, it was under user, local, and Java. And then we have the JDK 13 here, pressing OK. And then you see we have an entry here that says 13, JDK 13. You can rename it. So why don't we say JDK 13? All right, apply. So the next step is that you ensure your project, the JabRef project, has or uses exactly this JDK. So you go to the project settings, click in the project SDK settings, and then you select JDK 13, and then you press OK. So that's one step. The next step is that we need to ensure that Gradle is using the right Java version, because that's also important. So here we go to settings, or you go to file settings, it's the same thing. And then you can go down to build and deployment, or build execution and deployment, build tools, Gradle. And at the bottom here you see the Gradle JVM that's used, and we want it to use the JDK 13 we just set up. That's one thing. So pressing OK, and that should be basically it for ensuring that Java 13 is used, right? We will do two more additional steps that we will that are required for the later things. So first we again go to settings, and we go to build execution, compiler, annotation processor, and we enable annotation processing, right? And then we will go to Java compiler, and we will override some of the compiler parameters. So all of this is documented on the setup, on the configure page, right? So we're basically here, and what we want to do is we want to give some additional compiler parameters. I can copy here, right? So to the JabRef main module, I press on plus, I select JabRef main, OK, double click inside, and then simply paste it in, apply, OK. So next step is the annotation processor, but we already did this. So that should be basically it, and we should be able to try this out. So you see we have these nice tool windows in IDEA that you can turn on or off, so they are aligned on the outside of the IDE. And one of them is the Gradle tool window, where you can start all the Gradle tasks like we did in the terminal before. We go to tasks and we simply assemble it again. You see that the terminal, or a run log terminal, will open up, and you see what's happening there. Since we built it before, right, most of the tasks should be up to date, and we see that the build was successful. And as we did on the command line before, we can start JabRef by clicking on the run task, and you see it pops up. So now you successfully configured to use Gradle inside JabRef, and you can basically start working. Let's quit this. One of the things is that you will get, when you started a Gradle task, you will get an entry up here in the run configurations. So we should be able to just press here the run button, and it should do the same thing. And this should work for all tasks that you run from the Gradle tool window. Okay. The thing is that IntelliJ has an internal build system that you can also use. So right now we did everything through Gradle, which is very platform independent, and it works basically wherever it was tested and set up correctly. But it's sometimes a bit slower. And what we can do is we can compile the code with the IntelliJ internal build system if we want to. There's just one thing that you need to be aware of. Some of the Gradle steps include that sources are generated. So before you can use the IntelliJ build system, you need to ensure that all necessary sources that are required and that are created while building JabRef, that they are up to date. And then you can use IntelliJ's build system to compile JabRef much faster and also run JabRef much faster. What you have to set up to use this is you go to settings and again build execution deployment. Sorry, Gradle, and here on the build and run, you see that by default IntelliJ uses the Gradle tasks to build the project, but we can change this, right? We can say, okay, now use in IntelliJ's thing, pressing OK, and now we should be able to say rebuild project, and then it's basically, you see down here, rebuilding JabRef. So rebuilding JabRef, and now it throws an error into our face which says, oh, something is off. Something is off because it can't find a package from JabRef, but that was to be expected, because you need to tell IntelliJ's build system that where is this step? No, it should be there. I'm sorry. Give it another try. So, oh, it lost our settings. So you see, we set this up before, where we copied the JabRef things that we need there. So let's do this again and ensure that it's set up. So we want to add the exports here. And then say rebuild project. Okay, build completed successfully. That's what we wanted. So just remember that the IntelliJ build system is different from the Gradle build tool. So you can ensure that you have to ensure that you can always build it with Gradle, and for speed you can just use IntelliJ's build system. And now we should be also able to run JabRef through the IntelliJ's run configuration. So you see here that these are basically the run configuration that are used to start a program, right? And we have Gradle tasks here that simply run Gradle tasks and basically start JabRef, and then we have one that really starts a class using the IntelliJ's build system. We keep it as it is. We just ensure that we have JDK 13 down here, which we have. Press OK, and then we can simply start. And JabRef fires up. So probably we should compare the runtime for a second. So starting it through Gradle. That was quite fast. And then using IntelliJ's build system. Yeah, not that much slower, because I believe it ensures that the Gradle tasks are up to date. All right. If you're really going to write code for JabRef, then one thing you need to ensure is that you use the code formatting that is already used on the JabRef project, so that everything looks consistent. For that, you can install code styles for IntelliJ IDEA, which means it will reformat the code in order to be consistent with JabRef. So you can go to Settings and then Editor, Code Style. You see here the schema is project, and we want to import a new scheme. IntelliJ IDEA code style, and you find this in the repository. And it's under config. So there we go. So there's IntelliJ code style. Select this, press OK, and yeah, call it JabRef. And now it's basically using the same code style that's used in the whole project. And additionally, you want to import also the check style configuration. Check style, this setting down here is from the plugin we installed at the very beginning. So you go to plus, JabRef checks. We want to browse, and it's also on the config check style. Okay. Next. Seems to have worked, and then we just enable this and press OK. So that's basically all steps. You see, we can compile JabRef from within IDEA, and happy developing.